I teach 5 techniques, and I'm very much a technique teacher. And I will say this about some people. Some people just have something going on that makes us want to watch them. But for the majority, that is not going on. They don't have that je ne sais quoi, that elusive something that makes us want to watch them. And so for those people, which I was one as an actor, you've got to work your butt off. And having a technique that you apply to your scene work and your performances, generally speaking, gives you more substance. And so even today, the actors that book work around the world are booking it with technique. And so when teachers say to me, and I've heard high-profile Sydney teachers say this to me, for example, and in Melbourne, oh no, we don't teach that way, it's very much well, I won't go into it, but it's very different. I'm like, Daniel Day-Lewis, the greatest actor of our time, in my opinion, who gets nominated for an Oscar and generally wins for everything he does. A method actor, a pure Stanislavski actor, that you have to talk on set to him as character. De Niro, Pacino, these people, method actors, even Marilyn Monroe and others did Strasbourg adaptation of Stanislavski. In the end, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to say I'm just a Stanislavski teacher. I actually teach 5 different techniques, one which I devised based on all of my Australian upbringing and teaching and acting, is that it's good to have a technique. And if you choose to have a technique, it's really good foundation for you as an actor and really good foundation for you as a performer. And so I think it's a vital part of the actor's tool to learn techniques.
And could you tell us more about the other things that you teach?
I teach them, I used to think, what are all the different areas in which I can work, that I can work with people and want people to learn in. So I teach breath and voice connection. I do a lot of breath work, a lot of work to do with chakras and chakra alignment. I do emotional exercises which help the actor explore their emotions. And this is one of the things I'm really well known for in America, is this was my foundation month. So actors would begin by doing this work, and it's all part of what I call Australian techniques. And it's got roots with some very famous people, Kristen Linklater, Mike Alfreds, Bill Pepper and David Latham and others, and I amalgamated it together to form what I call as Australian techniques, which will be talked about in my book. And that's one technique that I teach. But I also teach, obviously, the scene study, the on camera, the role playing, not just creating characters, but being in the role of a policeman or the role of a nurse. How do they walk? How do they handle themselves? A corporate CEO person, how do they handle themselves? I even teach things like sex appeal, I teach movement, etc., etc. And with my school in America, we had a curriculum which actually went for 4 years. So it had all these different levels of working in all these different fields, and some of them were to do with the mind and to do with, because I've done psychology, and also, to do with the things to do and not to do in an audition and as an actor, etc., etc. So dealing with the mind is a very, very much an ongoing thing about working in with the actor. Of course, in the moment, when they do the scene, you try to have nothing going on. You want all of that out of the way. But in training, you absolutely could and should, and I do, deal with the mind. And I know that some other successful Hollywood acting coaches do the same thing.